out of you guys. I'm just kind of curious here by show of thumbs. Okay. Up, down, sideways. Let's like one of those three options here. How many of you are listing homes? Wait, hold your thumbs up so I can see them, because I'm trying to like really get a good idea here. So not a lot of us are listing homes. How many of you, if you got a listing appointment, can bring someone with you to list that home? That should be all of us. I would hope, right? So what I'm curious about is, I promised you guys last time we we're going to talk about setting up appointments. So I want to talk about sellers. So 64% of all buyers have to sell before they can purchase a home. That's a NAR stat from 2020. Okay, so equity's risen up a little bit. Maybe that's changed, but usually comes down to debt to income and their income, like inflation is affecting that, right? So that still could hold true. But if just being a year off, 64% of all buyers have to sell before they can buy. So I'm curious, again, show of thumbs, how many of you all are walking around talking to people, prospecting your database with buyer blinders on, and we don't really think to ask that question early on the stage? Anybody? All right. We got a pretty confident group. That's good. So the thing that I want to really talk about today is setting the seller appointment. I've got a script on this. And what I want to challenge you guys to do is, I need to get it over to you guys so you guys can rebrand it in your way, so it's not my brand. But what I want to challenge everybody to do on this call, I know it's recorded, but I want you to learn this script inside and out. So I want to challenge you to pull your phone out and record this, because I want you to be able to, I know everybody's got Bluetooth in their car these days, especially if they're a realtor. So I'd love for you to be like driving around with your downtime and just listen to this recording over and over and over again. So I'm going to do my best to role play with myself. For the 101, just getting started, this is the basic, most likely scenario. JP, you got a question? Oh, he's waving at somebody. Okay, I saw a hand.
I said I'll role play with you if you want.
Oh, cool. I appreciate it. I'm going to first role play with myself, and then JB, I'll come to you next. So weird to role play with yourself. But
I was going to say that did sound weird, buddy. I don't know if you want to say that on camera.
Yeah. As soon as I said it out loud, yeah. But I'm going to do it first because I want you guys to hear the most common scenario that this way will go. And to give you some perspective on this, as you guys are getting your phones out and figure out where your camera's at. So I got in the business in 2004. My dad had a lot of influence. I got in the business 6 months after my parents did. But my dad, previous industry was in car sales, and he started in a broker. Of course, I followed my dad. I was 18, by the way. I followed my dad to the brokerage he went to, and my dad, when I started with him, said, "Hey, let's go start working for sale by owners and expireds," right? But it was really for sale by owners. And in 2004, the only way to find for sale by owners was the newspaper, or turn right, like a mailman looking for signs. And so we created territories that we decided we were going to drive, and we drove all of Chattanooga, Tennessee, at least once a month, looking for sale by owner signs. And we developed a script. We tested knocking on doors. We did a lot of different things. And what we learned is that most agents fail in trying to set a listing appointment with a for sale by owner or expired or withdrawn, because they're trying to pitch over the phone. And so what we developed from learning from that was a script that is designed just to get an appointment, to get face-to-face. Now, there's a couple different filters on this that I want you to think about, okay? A couple different lenses you can look through this on. This strategy is to do, first and foremost, is get a listing, okay? Secondary, it's to study and educate yourself on the market, because there's still a decent amount of for sale by owners out there on the market. Do you guys agree or disagree? Show of thumbs. Okay, getting mainly thumbs up here. A great way to do it, to figure out how many for sale by owners are in your market, is to go onto Zillow, filter draw the circle around the area that you would be willing to go to, and then filter it to for sale, and then by owner. And then you'll see, it'll say for some reason it says listings and then other listings. I think generally it's the other listings. And so there are probably hundreds of for sale by owners in your marketplace. And so it's something it's like a whole nother area you can tap your business into, not to mention expireds, withdrawn, circle dialing. This script works for all of that. But the filter I want you to think through is even if you're not calling a for sale by owner, you can use this script while talking to a buyer if you discover that they own a home. Okay, which a lot of buyers own homes. So we can use that script to convert a buyer to a seller. We also can use it face to face when we're meeting with someone and we discover they own a home. So this works for anybody that owns a home. The goal is to get a listing appointment. Secondary, know of a for sale by owner that's willing to work with you and pay you a commission in case you happen to have a buyer or future run into a buyer. Or a lot of times these sellers are wanting to buy. So turn them into a buyer. And we all know what happens when they write an offer with you. They usually list with you if they have to sell or they're considering it. So there's a lot of different filters I want you to think through looking through this. This makes sense, guys? Okay, I'm gonna try my best to role play with myself here. So ring, ring, ring. Hello. Hey, this is Doug with 5 Realty. Yes. And I was calling you about your home for sale on 123 Banana Street. Okay. And I'm sure you've probably been called by a bunch of realtors already. Oh yeah, I've been called by a ton of them. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Well, I was just wondering if I could ask you a couple questions about your home. Sure. What do you want to know? First of all, are you willing to work with the realtor in selling your home? No, that's why I've got it for sale by owner. Okay, I understand. How about a one-time showing? Are you familiar with that? Not really. What's that? Well, simply put, I work with a team or I work with a company and we do a lot of work in your area. And sometimes we have a buyer that we've shown a whole bunch of listings to and can't seem to find a listing to match that buyer. And if we know of a for sale by owner, such as yourself, who's willing to work with us, we can sometimes put a deal together that way. All that I'd like to do is come by and see the home. Do you think I could come by today or would maybe tomorrow be good? Well, what's this going to cost me? Hey, actually, you don't even have to worry about that. We just want to find out what you want to put in your pocket. We'll put our part on top of that and pass that through the buyer. Okay. All right. Well, do you have a buyer? Well, again, I don't want to mislead you. I can't say I have a specific buyer in mind because I haven't seen inside your home. So again, all I'd like to do is come by and see the home. Could I come by again? I'm happy to come by in an hour, or would maybe later this evening be better? Yeah, I guess you could come by around 6. Okay, great. And again, my name's Doug Edrington, and I'm so sorry I didn't even ask yours. It's Joe Blow. All right, Joe. Well, nice to meet you. I'll see you at 6 o'clock. I'll text you my contact in case anything comes up. Otherwise, I will be there and I'll see you at 6. All right, see you then. Click. Okay. If you haven't role played with yourself in a long time, that's how you get really good. Okay. You role play, driving down the road in the car. Okay. So first off, any first thoughts? What are you thinking? Tell me more. Anybody got any? Chat the question, unmute yourself, throw it out there. Nazar, you can start.
I will say that the East Coast is entirely different than the West Coast. East Coast, you guys have a crap load of for sale by owners. I actually looked in California, and in Southern California as a whole, there's 89 for sale by owners.
89?
89.
89? Do you know how many of those you could list?
The whole, like, we're talking 3-4 counties.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and Utah, I think it was like 30 of them or 40 of them that I saw in southern Utah. So like, I think that different markets are gonna be different when it comes to that, but that doesn't mean to say that there's not opportunities out there, right? We just need to.
And that's, by the way, guys, that's today. Everybody thinks they can still sell their home on their own. What do you think is going to happen when the fall comes around, when the winter hits? I know you guys don't really have winter in Southern California, but like seriously though, like the people are going to start to think, I couldn't sell it on my own during the summertime, or they're thinking about selling it at this time. Like I want you guys to be prepared for this. The other scenario is too, you're talking to a buyer let's say you take an online lead and they're calling or they're reaching out to you on 123 Banana Street. I know that you guys have heard someone say, well, I just live down the road. Or actually I live not too far from here. I could come by at that time. Oh, do you? Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you thought about using a realtor and selling your home? Oh, I don't own a home. Oh, okay. No big deal. Still good with the script, right? Have you thought about using a realtor and selling your home? Oh, we're not ready to sell yet. Or we're not gonna sell. Oh, well, let me ask you this. If the price were right, would you consider selling? Well, maybe. Okay, well, could I come by and take a look at it? No, not yet. Oh, how about a one-time showing? Well, what's that? Well, simply put, I work with a company and we do a lot of work in your area. And sometimes we have a buyer that we've shown a whole bunch of listings to and can't seem to find a listing to match that buyer. And if we know of a homeowner like yourself who's willing to work with us, we can sometimes put a deal together that way. You think I could come by maybe this weekend, or would next week be better? You guys see what I'm saying? Like, I changed just the opener, and instead of saying for sale by owner, I said homeowner. Like, this script can be used in so many different ways. Door knocking. Who door knocks? You guys are like in beautiful lands, like country, like part of the country. Like it's beautiful weather. So for door knocking, you mix together Monica Carr's script of door knocking. You guys know Monica Carr? Like, if you haven't seen her video of Tom X, she's like the #2 watch YouTube video if you search Tom Ferry on YouTube. It's like the video about the money management, manage your money like the rich, and then it's Monica Carr's video. So she's all about door knocking. If you take her script of, hey, if the price were right, would you be willing to sell? And when they say no, you jump into the one-time showing opportunity. You're now setting an appointment to build rapport, learn about them. You might have a buyer for it. If you don't have a buyer for it, you might run into a buyer for it. If you don't have a buyer for it, you might list it. Or if none of that works, where are they moving to? Can you help them? You guys see what I'm saying? Okay, so JP, you said you'd role play. Let's do it. Let's do a role play and then take a few more questions maybe. The one question that's likely to come up is like, what do I do when I get in the house once I set the appointment? Because by the way, our ISA calls a lot of for sale bound. We call all of them, every single one of them, every single day. We got a VA that plugs them into our CRM, and our ISA calls them right out the gate. Before we had ISAs, we did it ourselves. And it's like, what do you do when you get in the house? We'll do exactly what you said you were going to do. You want to take a look at it. So let them show you the house, ask some rapport building questions, learn about what's going on. You're going to learn a little bit about them. You drop your anchor. Everybody carries something when they walk into an appointment, right? Whether it be a bag or a backpack or whatever, right? That's your anchor. So wherever you want to land, you leave that. Is it the kitchen table? Is it the living room? You drop that, you drop your anchor. So when you're getting the tour, so you have to come back to that. And then you start talking about, you plant your feet and start talking about what you do and how it relates to them. And like most of the time they listen because you're in their house. And I know I'm in the South and like people are nicer. They're really not. Okay. They just pretend to be nicer. So don't tell yourself that. So that's usually the #1 question I get is, what do you do when you get in the appointment? You take a listing agent with you. And then you let them do their magic so you can learn from them if that's not you. So JP, you ready to do a role play?
Yeah, can I add one thing to that?
Yes, sir.
I spy on them. I know it sounds funny, but I'm actually looking for things that I have in common. I'm from Long Beach, so if I go to Long Beach house, more than likely they went to the same high school as me or my parents or my friends. Maybe college thing, maybe they play golf, maybe they're into old cars. So I'm listening to them talk. Maybe they have crosses on that. We have a lot of Catholics here. I went to Catholic school, so it becomes an easy conversational point. So I'm always kind of spying and looking around at their decor and stuff.
Absolutely. I know not everybody's from the city you work in, but it really helps when you're from there, because you always, when you walk through someone's house and you see their pictures and you see what they collect and you see what they, you guys know how it is. Like a lot of times we tend to find common ground, and so that helps too, for sure. So cool. So JP, I'm going to let you be the for sale by owner. And again, I want you guys, I'm going with 101 for sale by owner, but then after you guys learn this script, you start practicing it with buyers and other people too. Okay. But JP, sure. You're for sale by owner. Okay.
Sounds good.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, this is Doug with 5 Realty.
Okay.
And I was
Right.
calling you about the home for sale on 123 Banana Street.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've probably been called by a bunch of realtors already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Well, hey, I was just wondering if I could ask you a couple questions about the home.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I just want to let you know that we're probably not going to list with an agent.
Okay, okay. Well, that was going to be my first question is, are you willing to work with the realtor in selling the home?
Not right now. I think we want to try it on our own for a little bit before we get to that point.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. How about a one-time showing? Are you familiar with that?
I'm not. I don't know. What do you mean by that?
Well, simply put, I work with a company and we do a lot of work in your area. And if we happen to have a buyer that we've shown a whole bunch of listings to and can't seem to find a listing to match that buyer, and we know of a for sale by owner such as yourself who's willing to work with us, sometimes we can put a deal together that way.
Mhm.
All I'd like to do at this time is just come by and see the home. Do you think I could come by, maybe this afternoon, or would the evening be better?
Yeah, that would be fine. I mean, we haven't really decided on, again, if we want to work with realtors, but if you had a buyer interested, I think we would look at that.
Cool. And total transparency. I do not want to mislead you. I can't say I have a specific buyer in mind because I haven't been inside your home.
Mhm.
But like I said, I'd love to come by and see it. So is this evening good for you, or should we shoot for maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, probably tomorrow would be better.
Tomorrow, mornings or afternoons, or I mean, even in the evening's fine as well.
Yeah, let's do morning.
Morning, say 10 o'clock, or would maybe earlier be better?
No, 10 is fine.
Okay, cool. 10 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be there. And again, I'm so sorry. My name's Doug Edrington, and yours was
My name's John.
John. All right, John. Well, I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks.
That was easy on you.
So you were easy on me, but guess what? That is the majority of the phone calls. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I took a note of he's not ready to work with the realtor yet. He wants to try it on his own. That sounds like we got some insecurities about if we're going to sell this house on our own. That's a great appointment. It's a great appointment that I'm excited to go to. Okay, so I want to pause for a second. We have time, maybe get one or two more role plays in, but any questions, thoughts, hallucinations?
I have a question.
Yes,
Hi.
ma'am.
I was wondering at the end when you go back and say, I'm sorry, what is your name again? What is the reason for that? I mean, because
I
but
don't know. I don't know his name.
oh,
On
okay.
Zillow, they provide a phone number. And
Oh,
so I by design say, and I'm so sorry. I didn't even ask. Again, my name is Doug Edrington, and when yours is, so like kind of implied consent. And I'm also giving before I ask for something. So the law of reciprocity. That's why I give my name first, and I also give my first and last name in hopes that John gives me his first and last name. And so I can get it all, but I'm going to get it tomorrow when I meet him, right? Or I can pull up the tax records. But like my name is James Douglas Edrington. So if you were to look up a for sale by owner and cross-reference it with the tax records and call for James, hey, is this James? You're a telemarketer in my mind, right? So we've got nicknames, we go by middle names, we've changed our names, like, you know what I mean? So we got to be careful with that. So like Roro, like that's not on the tax records, I bet. So does that answer your question?
yeah. Thank you.
I think a
Perfect.
good point to make here, this isn't a question, but what you did, this simple script, there's not a lot of rub, right? There's no massive thing that you're asking them to do aside from, hey, I just want to come by and swing by your house and take a look at it. It's not a major inconvenience to them. You're not trying to sell them anything. You're like, hey, I just want to come and see. I want to see your house.
And that's what they signed up for. They signed up to show their house.
Correct.
So they're excited to show it, right? Half of the time I find, they don't always tell you this, but you can kind of gather it. They kind of want a realtor to come see their house to get an opinion, right? Not saying they're like ready to list necessarily, but they're curious. So the right salesperson gets in the door, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Really
Doug,
good thing.
if we were to have that conversation, you told me, well, I'm not ready to list yet. My natural intuition would be to say, well, what needs to happen for you to make that decision?
Yeah.
But I think that conversation should not be done over the phone. It should be done
Correct.
in person.
That's where most ISAs and agents fail, is they get into pitch mode. I know some teams that are that they're spoiled rotten. Okay. And I mean that in the most complimentary way for a real estate agent, from realtor to realtor. They're spoiled rotten. They're like, I don't want to go out on one of those one-time showing appointments. Like, they don't want to list yet. Like, I want that ISA to get me those appointments where they're ready to list. And then they complain and that they're not getting paid enough money too. And I'm like, it's a silver platter. So yeah, definitely, like, these are solid appointments. It's all of what you make of it. If you go in there with the attitude is, if I don't list this house, then it's a waste of time. Don't do this, because it helps you study the market. You might actually do a one-time showing, right? By the way, like in my market, 6% is still kind of the norm. I know that's not everywhere, but 6% is fairly, for the most part, the norm still. A lot of times we do a one-time showing, we'll just write it up at 6%. Not 3 or 2.5 or something like that. So, okay, sure, we'll come down to 5. One-time showing, easy, right? So something to think about. Any other questions? Or we want to do here another role play?
I want to do one more add-on.
Okay.
Those that are in this conference or this meeting right now, and you're thinking in your head, again, there's not a lot of for sale by owner opportunities, and you're just tuning this out. Think of how you can change this when you're door knocking, right? When you're actually physically door knocking their property. And I'd say something like, hey, I can tell them about a listing just sold, but I can also say, listen, I've got buyers that want to buy in this community. Like, would you be open to showing your home? If I brought you a buyer that was willing to pay you top dollar for your home, would you be willing to sell it? And if they say yes, then say, hey, why don't you show me your property, and then I'll see if I've got a buyer that matches your home.
Yeah. And if you're not confident on doing that presentation on your own, but you're confident of practicing getting the appointment, which everyone here should be able to do that. Even if you're door knocking, just schedule the appointment. Don't try to get in the door right then, because most people don't want a stranger to walk in their house immediately. And
Sure.
And what's the chances? Like, I call it a two-legged or a one-legged appointment, two-legged, one-legged. Like, I don't want one spouse to be there and the other not. So if you're door knocking, you might think, like, you can kind of tell by the cars in the driveway and who comes to the door. And then you take a guess, as best we do, if they're married, they're not, or if there's a partner or whatever. And so make that call of like, all right, they're not home during the day, so maybe I should come back in the evening time. So knock, knock, knock. Hey, I'm letting you know there's a house down the road that just went under contract, and I'm just door knocking to see, if the price were right, would you consider seller? Do you know anybody that would? And they say, not really sure. Well, how about a one-time showing? Are you familiar with that? And then now we're in the script, right? That you all recorded, and this is being recorded. So document it, practice it. There's only a handful of objections you're going to run into here, guys. It's not that hard. It's a commitment of like learning the alphabet, right? It's like, how many of you know the ABCs? All of us do, right? When was the last time, like, if you don't have kids, when was the last time you said the ABCs? Like, probably 10 plus years ago when you were drunk, right? Like, there's no reason for us to say the ABCs, right? And so, but you still know it by heart. This is how you need to get this script into your brain. You need to get this down to you can sing it, you can be multitasking and do it. It's gotta be that good, muscle memory. So let's do we got 5 minutes left here. Let's get another role play in.
I'd love to hear the door knocking. Like, if you could just focus specifically on door knocking.
We'll do it. We'll do that. Okay. Hey Robert, will you just role play with me since you spoke up?
Yeah.
Okay, so knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Doug with 5 Realty, and I was stopping by because there was a house down the road that went up for sale and sold pretty quickly, and there's other buyers that are interested in this neighborhood. I just got to ask, would you be willing to work with the realtor in selling your home?
Doug, we're not interested in selling. We get knocks on our door all the time.
Do you really? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Just be clear. How about a one-time showing? Are you familiar with that?
No, what's that?
Well, simply put, I work with the company and we do a lot of work in this area. And sometimes we have a buyer that we've shown a whole bunch of listings to and can't seem to find a listing to match that buyer. And if we happen to know of a homeowner such as yourself who's willing to work with us, sometimes we can put a deal together that way. And we find out what we want to put on our, or we want to find out what you want to put in your pocket. And then we just put our pot on top of that and pass it to the buyer. Buyer totally understands it because they've hired us to go out and literally knock on doors to find them their house. So it would definitely be, if we happen to have a buyer in this house fit, I mean, you're probably getting top dollar because buyer's paying us to go knock on doors right now.
You know, we've never even talked about selling. I'm not sure that we're in the market. Yeah, I don't think that we're interested in selling.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, would it be helpful if maybe I shot you some information about the market and what's going on? I can give you just like a snapshot, because you said you didn't say it's a hard no. You said you don't think, and I get it. I just randomly knocked on your door. But if I shot you some information, all it can do is just inform you a little bit of what's going on literally in the neighborhood and even the zip code as well. What's the best email address for you to shoot that to?
You could send it to 123@gmail.
Okay, cool. And I'll tell you what, I usually shoot a little video on how to explain it, and text is the easiest way to do it. What's your cell?
It's 1234567.
Okay, cool. And I'm so sorry, I didn't even ask. Again, my name is Doug Edrington, and yours is?
It's Rob.
Rob. Okay, cool, Rob. Rob, what's your last name if you don't mind me asking?
Mac.
Rob Mac. Okay, cool. I'll shoot you that email. Hey, do you like either, or let me rephrase that. Do you not like any of your neighbors? Should I be knocking on your door extra?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Seriously though, do you know anybody in the neighborhood that I should be knocking on the door that you think might sell?
I haven't heard of anyone planning on selling.
That's fair. Cool. Well, I'll shoot you that email. Thanks for letting me take a few moments of your time. And here's my card, by the way. Throw it on the fridge if you happen to want to give me a shout. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You know, that's the I feel like when we door knock, that's like that initial knee-jerk reaction. A lot of people are like, we're not interested in selling, just to kind of make us go away.
Yeah.
Even if they are interested in selling, potentially, they just want us to go away. I love this script. I'm just wondering, how can we create it to where like we can get in the door right then and there? You know what I mean? Like how it's like that whole off-market thing. I want to tweak that a little bit.
The one time showing, Robert, before you tweak it, I challenge you to do it verbatim.
Okay.
And see what you get, and then A/B test it. But before you try to change something, like I tell you, I've been doing this for 18 years, and like, you know, thanks or no thanks to Zillow and all those kind of worlds right now, like that's a huge part of our business. But for the first like 12 years of our business, over 50% of our business was from for sale by owners using this exact script.
So help me understand this. So if I'm at the door and I tell you that I'm not interested in selling, and your second question is, are you interested in a one-party showing? I'm a little bit confused. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yeah, I'm a little confused on how that is even relevant.
So here's why. You already told me you're not interested. That was an autopilot answer. Right? I'm just asking you the same question in a different way. Well, that was going to be my first question, actually. Is you willing to work with the realtor? I'm still going to ask them because I might get a slightly different answer. Like JP told me, like he went from, no, I'm not willing to work with a realtor to, well, we're going to try it on our own first. Right. And so you may tell me no, and I'm still going to ask you, oh, well, that was going to be my first question. Are you willing to work with a realtor and sell the home? No, I told you no. Okay. Still pretty solid. Right. Well, how about a one-time showing? What's that? Like if they say, what's that? I now have an inkling that maybe there's somewhere down deep inside that if the scenario is right, they might sell. Right.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. And then if they say, what's that? Then you can go into, okay.
You follow the script. Right? I'm going to throw you guys just a couple common objections that I can think of off the top of my head. One thing is sometimes like they'll try to rush you. Like they're like some people, really a lot of people won't hang up on you when you're calling them about their house, right? Or they might slam the door in your face. I know door knocking's a little bit different, but if they say, you'll probably get this a lot. Well, I got a quick second. What do you want? Make it fast, right? Most of us want to start talking fast, and all that does is make them not hear you even more. So respond to them. Oh, just take a second, and then continue to talk slow. If you notice, if you go back and listen to this, I'm talking at a very less than a lower speed, right, than normal, when I'm in the scripting, because I want them to process what I'm saying. So even if they try to rush you off the phone, acknowledge it, and then continue to talk at the same pace. Okay. A couple other objections. I gotta think about it. I gotta talk to someone about it. I'm in the South. They gotta pray about it all the time. Like there's you tell them I have that too. I don't know. But like when they say all these things, just say, hey, no problem. I tell you what, how about we just, you sound pretty busy and I get pretty busy too. Why don't we just pencil that in? And if anything were to come up, you could let me know. Do you think we could pencil in this time, or would this time be better? And a lot of times we'll end up still nailing that appointment down, and we'll just tell them, awesome. And this is my cell. If anything comes up, give me a shout. Otherwise, I will be there at that time. No call to confirms or anything like that. Just set the appointment and go. So pencil it in is helpful. If there's a key, if it's a vacant house and like there's a key under the mat or there's a lockbox, hey, I really appreciate you letting me go into your house, and even though we haven't even met. But it's a policy of our companies or our teams or of you. It's a policy of ours that we don't go into a home that we don't have anything signed with, or the owner's not there. Just, how the world's kind of crazy these days. So when might be a good time that we could meet over there? Because you don't want to go just tour a home for the sake of touring a home. You want to meet the owner. Well, what's that going to cost me? Well, I've already gone over that in the objections. You don't have to worry about that. We just find out what you want to put in your pocket. We put our part on top of that and pass it through the buyer. It's amazing how these for sale owners, when we call them, they're like, you don't want to know the price. It's this many bedrooms, this much bath, this much square foot. Like, we don't ask any of that stuff. We don't even, so rarely does it even get to commission, because I say, oh, that's between me and the future buyer. And they agree that they're going to have to pay a premium to get this home. So we're just going to put our part on top of that and pass it through to the buyer. It's all just pretty much covers most objections. So I know I ran 3 minutes over. I love this stuff, so I'd love to keep going, but I want to respect y'all's time because I know you probably got appointments to get to. We will continue to work on this if you guys like this. And start, because I'd love for you guys to study this, role play this, and then let's go deeper into objection handling with this. Let's talk about door knocking. Let's talk about circle dialing. Let's talk about converting the buyer to the seller. I know most of you, I would assume, have a CRM of some sort. And so within your CRM, you can probably label leads a certain way. I would challenge you immediately, every lead you touch moving forward, if they own a home, put a tag on it or put a note, like something that you can search, like show me everybody in my CRM that is a homeowner. So you can start going through that list and calling them all. Make sense, guys?
Yep.
All right. So just curious, show of thumbs. Is this applicable to our business? Okay, cool. So we should keep working on this. Awesome. We'll hang on to this for a while because this takes some time. You got to commit to practice. I challenge every single person. Do you guys have like a group thread or a Facebook group or something? Or how do you guys communicate as a whole? Any way or no?
On Slack.
On Slack. Okay. Slack or text or whatever. Like immediately right now, text your accountability partner to learn the script. Like immediately right now, text your accountability partner. If you don't have one, just go ahead and pick them right now and surprise them. You're my accountability partner. Text them, because this takes two. It takes two, right? And you guys got to hold each other accountable to this. And then if anybody does this between the next call, I want to hear some wins. Because I guarantee you, like, you guys can set appointments with this. And then after we master setting the appointment, we'll move on to the presentation. Sound good? Cool, guys. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.